Selaco is the latest boomer shooter that should be on the library of anyone who loves this genre of game. It's a retro shooter, but it's got a lot of modern touches. Enemy AI, for one, is surprisingly competent. Enemies will flank you, bottleneck you, and push you into a corner. And as you progress through the game, they'll actually advance their tactics, utilizing different gear as well as advancing on you quicker. And while the game is level-based, the levels themselves are wide and sprawling, and sometimes confusing. I think a lot of this has to do with the graphical style of the game. While each area does have its own individual identity, the general theme of the game is gray and blue. But while I did end up getting lost early on in the game, I quickly realized that green means go. Anytime you see a doorway or some computer terminal that has a green icon on it, usually that's the game trying to tell you that's where you need to go. I was able to get through the campaign in roughly 8 hours when I was suddenly gaslit with the idea that I only beat Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 was on the way. It would also make sense why so much of the game is gray and blue. Chapter 2 might completely shift to open fields or skyscrapers, I don't know. But if I take a moment to criticize what few things I would critique, performance can be hit or miss in certain areas, and generally speaking, I would recommend that you go through the graphical settings as you play the game. The default settings, at least for me, had way too much screen shake and crap showing up on my screen. But I was able to slowly dial all of that back into something that was readable. Also, as mentioned, the maps can be quite confusing sometimes. I've gone through the game twice now, and I still haven't been able to completely recognize each area. There is a map, and it does the best that it can, but I would love to have objective waypoints in this game, or at the very least have the map mark out more than just a couple points of interest. I'm all for no hand-holding, and I was able to beat the game without getting too frustrated, but I've seen a lot of people complaining on the forums, and I totally get it. One last problem. This game allows you to replay levels you've been to so that you can search for secrets you're missing. That's actually really cool. Problem is, enemies don't seem to respawn. Now, for certain specific achievements, that's okay. It's actually recommended that you go through the game first and then you go back to the first level so you can pick up your teddy bear Wilson and take it to the main character's hideaway. By the way, screw this goddamn bear. But with the enemies slowly evolving and getting buffs throughout your adventure, it just totally feels like a missed opportunity to replay levels and not have any of that impact the game. And finally, I do want to say this game is not for everyone. If you like Dusk, Ultra Kill, any other boomer shooters, then you should get this game. Without question, it's amazing. The only caveat I'll say is you have to play the game a bit more tactically. Prioritize cover. It makes all the difference in these firefights.